Good evening, gentlemen. I hope you're well. I'm just here in the kitchen prepping up food, and by prepping up, I mean reheating stuff that's already cooked. I'm a terrible cook. It's probably one of my worst traits. And guys, I want to just jump on here quickly and run you through something which has been a game changer for me. So obviously, we have our beautiful little daughter, Layla Amelia Cant. She's entered this world, and hasn't she entered with a bang? I fucking love being a dad. It is the single coolest thing that I've ever done in my life. When I'm burping her and she vomits down my neck, or when she just sits there and she just makes these most amazing, beautiful noises. I never knew that I could love something or someone so much, so quickly. Like literally from the moment I caught her, because I delivered Soph, delivered Layla. So Soph pushed her out and I caught her, all of blood and all that sort of stuff. It was amazing. It's like the coolest thing ever. And I just love my little Layla. She's amazing. But there is one thing that happens with a newborn, is that they do tend to impact your sleep a little bit. And so one of the things that we've been working really, really hard on is how can I make it so that my recovery is still perfect and my sleep is still amazing, even though I have a newborn, in the most challenging, difficult time of your life for sleep. How can I still do it? Earlier today, I just posted up on Instagram. I'm going to post up on Facebook too, about how I'm still maintaining ridiculous sleep scores. So I'm tracking all my sleep. I use my Oura Ring, this thing here, and I still am in God mode, what I call God mode. God mode is when you're sleeping perfectly, you're getting deep sleep, REM sleep, every single type of sleep that you need. Your recovery markers are good, you're low stress, like everything's perfect. And people are like, how the fuck are you doing this? Like, you've got a kid. Aren't you meant to look like shit? Aren't you meant to feel terrible? Isn't life meant to be incredibly hard? And it's like, well, for some people it can be, definitely, but there's a whole heap of stuff that you can do to make it better, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. So the very first thing that we need to look at when it comes to, a lot of you guys have had bad sleep. That's probably why you're in this group, because you saw a group of high-performing men, and you know that in order to be a high performer, you need to have good quality sleep. And a lot of you guys have probably tried a whole heap of things. You probably tried going and taking drugs and taking sleeping tablets and all that. Those things are the fucking worst thing ever. Why? They fry your nervous system. So you take it right now, you take a sleeping pill, a Valium or something like that, you feel good, you sleep, you relax, you wake up the next day and you feel somewhat refreshed, sometimes a little bit groggy. But then what happens is, because you've taken that pill, the next night you need to take it again. And if you don't take it, your sleep will be worse than what it was before, right? And it just keeps going backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards. It just gets harder and harder and harder the more that you take these pills, right? And so you end up getting addicted. That's why so many people get addicted to Valium. It strips out your serotonin, fucks with your GABA receptors. It's horrible shit. Restovits, all those sorts of drugs, they're nasty, nasty things. You should not be taking them at all, because you do not need them. The second thing a lot of people say is like, oh, I'm too stressed to have good sleep. It's like, bruh, I run a multi-million-dollar business, right? My payroll alone is in the millions, right? I know about stress. I've had my fair share in time. Shit, you look at the side of my head, look at those grey hairs. I had grey hairs when I was 24 years of age. Why? Because I was a young hustler working a shitload of hours. I was doing 100-hour weeks. And these tips, these worked for me. And I can guarantee that there is nobody in this group who has worked harder than old Jimmy Cant. Because that's how I built my whole career. Literally, I was a pro bodybuilder. I was finishing off a degree. I was competing all around the world, and also running a very, very substantial business. I was doing like 500 grand a year at that time, in my early 20s, right? Working massive hours, no automation, completely stupid. And I was doing that, and these sleep hacks still worked, right? So these sleep hacks are definitely going to work for you. You do not need to have a low-stress lifestyle in order to succeed, okay? Now, by the way, earlier today, I put up a post which has access to a free download on how you can get deep, uninterrupted, unbroken sleep. Exactly what you need to do. If you don't have access to that, I want you to comment down below. Just comment sleep down below in the comment section, and I'll make sure that you get access to this, because you're going to need it. Okay, it's very, very important. Comment sleep down in the comment section below, and we'll send you across access to this free download, because this will make every single thing that I'm saying right now make a whole heap more sense. Okay, I'm just going to reply to a couple of comments I've got here. Julian Ganestra. Genestra? I've never asked you how to pronounce your last name, dude. So congrats again, best thing being a dad. It is fucking unreal, man. And yeah, you got 2 boys, sleep is fucked. Yeah, dude, it's super common, man. A lot of guys who do have kids have really ridiculously fucked sleep. You're never going to stop them waking you up through the night. Never. But what you can do is you can maximize your recovery and your sleep outside of that. Well, that's what I do anyway, and it's very, very successful. We've used this on hundreds of different dudes. Right? You can't change the fact that you're going to have to be up for your kids. Right? It's just a part of it, and it's fucking awesome. But you got to make sure that you maximize what you do get. Craig Fisher, so cool, man. I only have the birth of my step grandkids, and it's just a fucking amazing thing living on a natural high. Oh, totally, dude. It's the most amazing, incredible thing. I'm the biggest advocate for kids if you love the partner that you're with. Fuck, I couldn't imagine doing this with someone that I did not like. I think that'd be really, really tough. And Anton and Tim have just commented sleep. So guys, if you want access to that sleep training, or if you haven't got access to it yet, comment sleep and make sure you get your hands on that. Okay, so let's continue on now. First of all, we've got to look at why is it that we do not sleep well? What are the things which start to inhibit our sleep or make things worse? I'm just going to run you through a couple of little things now, okay? Because in order to find the solution, we need to understand the problem first. That's why so many people fuck up being healthy. That's why so many people fuck up having good sleep, because they just say, oh, I sleep bad, so therefore give me a sleeping pill. Or I sleep bad, so I need to quit my job and go live in a fucking Buddhist temple and meditate and drink unicorn semen every single day to restore my health. No, you don't need to do any of that at all. That's a whole heap of crap. You just need to understand how the body works. So step number one of the key neurotransmitters, brain chemicals involved in our sleep regulation is histamine, okay? Histamine is also one of the key inflammatory neurotransmitters involved. So whenever you get, let's say you roll over and you sprain your ankle, you sprain your wrist, and it blows up, it gets massive, it swells up huge. Histamine is the thing which starts that whole process, okay? So that's the very first thing. Histamine starts the inflammatory process. And so if you have a large amount of histamine floating around because you have large amounts of inflammation and damage throughout your body, well, you're not going to get to sleep well, because histamine is literally involved in the sleep-wake cycle. And you can take these things called histamine blockers, or DAOs, histamine inhibitors, such as like diphenhydramine, and it will totally change. It will just knock you off to sleep like that. Why don't we take diphenhydramine every night? Because it's a medication, and because it's going to make our sleep shittier and shittier and shittier down the track. We need to fix it naturally. We need to fix it within the body, because we can do so. That's what we need to do. Lower our amounts of histamine. Why? Because we get better. Histamine regulates the sleep-wake cycle. How do we do it? By reducing inflammation within the body, okay? Less gut issues, less stress, or a better ability to deal with stress, better hormone optimizations. Those are the things that we need to do to reduce histamine, right? So the next thing we need to look at is staying asleep, okay? Why is it that we wake up throughout the night? Well, obviously kids are going to be a part of it, but even when kids, do wake you up, why is it that when you wake up without your kids being around, okay? So a big one there is going to be noradrenaline or norepinephrine or the stress hormone. Whenever we're excessively stressed and we're not dealing with that stress and getting it out of our mind, the stress hormones are going to wake us up. I don't know if you guys ever get this. Do you ever wake up at 3 a.m. thinking about work, thinking about a relationship that's going to shit, thinking about something that's going wrong at 3 a.m. in the morning? You're like, fuck, this is really not an opportune time. Well, what's actually happening here is the body is processing a lot of those emotions, processing the stuff, and we get a spike in that noradrenaline, that spike in that norepinephrine. And whenever this happens, it will cause us to wake up, because it changes our blood sugar levels and it gets our body ready to move. And that's why you sit there and you're like, fuck, I just want to go back to sleep. But you can't. You can't, because your body and your brain is keeping you up, and you never ever win that, right? So what we need to do is we need to learn how to control this, okay? We have a stack of stuff which we can do in order to control this stress and manipulate it. See, here's the thing. Don't pray or don't wish for a low stress lifestyle. Wish for the skills to deal with that stress. The only way to achieve greatness and be a true high performance man is to encounter stress and overcome it. And that's what we need to do. And so if we want to overcome this stress, here are a couple of really simple, easy things you can do. Number one, breath work, right? Number two, ice baths. Number three is making it so that you're surrounding yourself with a group of like-minded people who are improving on a regular basis. That's why we run our events, Abundant and Uncommon. Get a bunch of good dudes who are millionaires or soon to be millionaires all in a room, put them together, give them a heap of growth stimulus stuff to make them even better, and then fuck, no wonder they all crush it. No wonder they're all so low stressed and relaxed and dominating life, right? Wouldn't you want to be in a room like that? Wouldn't you want to level up? What, don't you think surrounding yourself with guys who are fucking crushing it every single day, don't you think that'd make you a little bit better? Of course it would. That's what we need to do, okay? So I want you to start off on those really simple things. If you don't have access to the sleep, the free download that I offered you guys before, if you don't have access to that, comment sleep down below, just like Tim's done, just like Anton's done. Comment down below and make sure that you get access to that, because if you do not have the sleep download, you are missing out. On that note, guys, I'll leave you all to it. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I'll speak to you soon.